Yo, what's up, guys? It's the Insane Gay Freak here. Welcome to the Juice is Loose, number 211. Welcome to the Oreo podcast. Actually, that works out because T's at the end and I'm at the end. The fucking Juice, you just smacked it. All right, this is going to get weird in a minute.
On your screen, yeah. Let's get
my
away
screen,
from that.
I'm to the far right.
Guys, listen, just shut the fuck up for a second. Just let me, like, you couldn't just let me have the joke. It's like
the viewers might be confused. Like, what are you
hey, man, listen, let them be confused. All right, sometimes they got to learn the life doesn't come out the way expected all the time. All right. And speaking of that, we have a few things to talk about, and the first thing we're just gonna get out the way because it's
Well, first we should probably point out that got some people members.
Oh yeah, like half the members are dead.
Yeah, Robert's still not back.
Retro Death is a zombie. That's why you'll see him in the chat. And Clocked It is not on time today. That was probably in poor taste. The point is, and I don't know where the fuck. I almost called him by his real name. I don't know where Shadow Fox is at. We saw him for a second and he was gone. Just like actually not. I want to make these like really offensive jokes, and I feel like this is not the time or place to do this. Anywho, it's besides the point. So because I'm hosting, I figured I'd get the most loot shit out of the way first because yesterday it was kind of a fucking wild storm on Twitter, and it kind of sprouted from a game that nobody was excited about. So if you were on Twitter, I believe yesterday. I don't know if it happened Saturday, but I know it was definitely yesterday. You might have seen the word Bowsette trending. Oh shit, there's Shadow Fox. Shadow Fox has made it in. He's landed.
And I did invite one more guest who's never been on the podcast. He's seeing if he can make it. So
we might have one more person joining randomly, I guess.
Hope they don't join and it sound like they're in a fishbowl.
That's a good point, but we're gonna
listen. We're just trying to swim out here, right? That's all we're trying to do. I ain't trying to be out here drowning and shit. Anywho, though, so New Super Mario Brothers U, when that was announced during the Direct, even though it was already leaked / rumored for like what was that, like a month or two before the Direct even formally announced it?
Within the month.
It was within the month. The trailer no one really gave a shit about because no one was super excited about the game, but there was a weird thing is when they introduced, Toadette's a playable character, and here's a power-up. Power-up allows Toadette to turn into Peach. Now, the Mario lore is already kind of fucked up as it is. This just added a bunch of more questions for a lot of the fandom. I remember people just doing reaction videos to the reality that Peachette is a thing. That Toadette, for some reason, can grab a crown and turn into Peachette. Well, of course, because no human being can be trusted. Somebody had the idea of, well, what does that mean for other characters who would have grabbed this power up? And in the case of yesterday, someone decided to make a comic of what if Bowser grabbed the goddamn crown, and that's where Bowsette was born. Now the funny thing is the comic in question is actually it's almost like a fan's interpretation of the ending of Super Mario Odyssey, because the comic is where Peach denies. Oh, spoilers for Super Mario Odyssey's ending. So, the comic is that Peach denies Mario and Bowser like she does in the game. They're both down there crying, consoling each other. But the next shot is Bowser holding up the crown power up from New Super Mario Brothers Deluxe, and then the next sequence is like Mario Tennis, but Bowser's like Bowsette, which is essentially a Peach like Bowser. And motherfuckers went to the internet and people got their pens and pencils, whatever the fuck else. You use the draw and shit went pretty insane. And if you have a job, you don't open up any of these pictures at work. So, I just figured thoughts. So, T, thoughts on the deviancy of the Mario fandom?
Man, I can't keep up. I don't understand this stuff. I feel like an old man every time this kind of stuff happens. It's just like any little tiny little reference becomes like lore, like immediately, especially with Nintendo characters. It's just it's cool that people put that much into it, I guess. But like for me, it's just like it's kind of weird. Some of this stuff is way out there. Like I'm at work and I work at a school, so I'm like, let's talk about Bowsette in my feed. I'm like, what is this? I'm going to jail. I have to get out of here. So I closed it up and I asked some questions about what was going on today, and got some answers. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
It's funny. The funny thing about this is that the guy who drew the original comic that all this spiraled from is from Japan. And it got so much traction in Japan that they had like legit manga artists draw fan art of this shit.
Yeah.
So it's like so not only did the Americans decide to get ridiculous with it, Japan was having a motherfucking field day.
Well, that was my confusion because I was looking at it, I'm like, I thought it was something legit. I'm like, they adding a new character to the Mario lore? Because I saw the like you said, the manga drawing or whatever, and I was like, that looks like real stuff. And then you're like, that told me what it was about. And I was like,
there's like a bunch of like official looking art based off of this gender swapped version of Bowser, which is also funny because people have been doing memes of Dad Bowser, like that sequence from I think it's like the Nintendo parental controls video they did where he runs up and shields like Bowser Jr.'s eyes. So someone did a meme of Bowser Jr. finding all the lewd pictures of his dad as a girl.
You see? Every little detail.
And he runs up and he's like, shield your eyes.
Oh my gosh.
People had a fucking it's fucking great, is what it is. I love and it's like you said, the Mario lore is not overly convoluted, but we have turned it into a fucking mess. People as soon as people saw Peachette, it was like this shit.
Like even like what happened with was it the direct or E3 where they showed Luigi? That was E3, right? When Luigi got slaughtered and it's like it was this big thing about, oh my God, is Luigi dead? I'm like, shut up.
No. You're talking about the Smash Bros. One. You're talking about when he gets in the Castlevania trailer?
Yeah, the Castlevania trailer. I'm like, people were like losing their minds about this. I'm like, no, he's not dead. You chill the hell out.
Hey man, to be fair, people remember, to be fair, when we saw the Poltergust in that, and then we saw Luigi's Mansion 3 and he has the same Poltergust.
Yeah. Well, that's some cool stuff.
Nintendo will do some off-brand type of references.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if you can control Luigi in spirit form in the new game. But before we go any further,
we had
I see because of the late cancellations and Shadow was no show for a little bit. I threw out an invite, so I want to welcome, and hopefully his mic's working, Little Crate of the Bone to the Juices Loose podcast for the first time. What's up, man?
Yeah, what's up? How's it going, everybody?
Good.
What's up?
Oh, he got that clean mic too.
A good mic,
He got that clean mic.
He came in here clean. I was gonna swear we're gonna be in a submarine or something.
Yeah, after 2 months, we doing voice chat while gaming. He's got whatever earbuds he was using. His phone didn't recognize, so it was on speakerphone the whole time.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Oh, I do got these Turtle Beach. Let me try to plug these in." And I'm like, I was like, "Damn, dude, that's sexual."
and then we ended the conversation there.
Yeah.
No, this is the Wii U brand, so it's some old ones.
Hey, how come mine don't sound like that? That's what I got on right now. Clean.
And so we got the Oreo going. What is Craig in this group? What would that be in the equivalent?
A double stack Oreo? I don't fucking know.
Man, this is getting serious.
So anyway, welcome to
this is getting serious.
Welcome to the Bowsette podcast.
Yeah, this is like a weird introduction if you're not a deviant of some sort. So it's just
I was looking at Twitter. I didn't know if it was official or if it was
it's unofficial,
fan made, and I was like, what the hell's going on here? I've been on meds for the last 2 days, so I've been dozing in and out.
So you thought you were dreaming probably.
Yep.
You popping them pills? You got tattoos on your face yet?
Not yet.
Get some of that cough syrup, bro. That's what you need.
No, I got some Norco, so I got the good stuff.
Oh shit! So
welcome to the drug podcast,
where we get all types of fucked up folks.
I appreciate the invite. I've been listening to you guys for years already, so it's awesome.
Years. You hear this, man? Dedication.
I think I'm more baffled that we've been doing this for years. I think that's what more trips me out.
Loser.
And Trey is my Rocket League part of the dynamic duo. So we've been.
He's your ball buddy.
chatting.
Okay, I get it.
So he was. I already knew. Yeah, I think your personality fits well with what we do here. So anyway, Terrell's the host. So sorry to interrupt. So
hey man, listen. To be fair, the core of this podcast is still Terminator Juice. So of course, you have to be the one to introduce these amazing people you get on here, and Robert.
And Shadow, let's get a mic check. Shadow, your mic working?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Shadow's in the he's in the toilet on the toilet bowl.
He's in the shits. Is that what you're trying to imply, sir?
Yeah. Let me see how Bluetooth works.
It ain't that bad. I was just messing.
It's not terrible.
Just different.
But we can't tell the difference. But that's about it. Like you still are understandable.
Yeah,
so
we can hear you good.
Let me give my thoughts on Bowsette.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you next anyway.
All right. So there you go. I'm done.
What did you do? I know you. So you have absolutely no thoughts.
I have no opinion other than it kind of makes sense to have Bowser have Peach to have a nemesis and Bowser have like a female companion. Instead of having so they wouldn't have to just steal for the princess all the time. I think it would actually make sense.
No. You were completely missing it. It's literally Bowser. It's not like a.
I know, but
okay.
What
Bowser
it's
and drag.
in my mind is that it actually would be kind of cool I think it would help them get away from Bowser just kidnapping Peach.
Oh yeah, like actually lore wise, I don't mind the idea of having like a Bowser's wife kind of thing. It also would kind of stop all the rumors that all Bowser's trying to do is fuck Peach and his
That's not a rumor. That's
pretty blatant.
Hey, listen. This is a children's game. Cut this shit out. I know what you're implying, but listen, I'm not trying.
Well, why was Bowser trying to put a ring on her? It wasn't just a.
Don't you know Birdo was a transsexual?
Well, no, we knew that. But I don't think Nintendo acknowledges that.
Not anymore. They try to forget about that shit.
I don't even know why they even bothered in the begin with. If they didn't want to acknowledge it, just make her a girl. No one was gonna question you about
because in the '80s, people were way more open about that stuff. I don't know.
They were more open.
You think there would be less, but apparently,
yeah. Like that's just a weird thing. It's like, hey, welcome to Nintendo. Oh, by the way, this character who's kind of considered a somewhat companion to Yoshi is a man.
We let our freak flag fly over here at Nintendo.
Yeah. Hey, man, haven't you seen our Zelda from Breath of the Wild?
Hey.
We don't give a fuck. I remember that shit. That was like the worst part of 2017. They were like, Kimishima, how do we get more sales with the Switch? And then they took pictures of Twin Tail, Zelda.
It worked.
Yeah, exactly. It did work. They just took
them legs, boy.
Yeah, it was like Twin Tail Zelda and like Pyra from.
Don't forget Lollipop because she's so thick.
Hey man,
Robert.
We're on some deviant shit. That's what's going on. Robert doesn't understand how inflatable pants work, folks. For some reason, he assumes that all clowns who can blow up their pants are thick ass clowns. It's not a clown.
He was born after the Hammer era, so he don't know nothing about that.
Oh, I mean, I don't want to see that man in a circus. He'd be trying to rape somebody.
Oh my god!
I'd be concerned for the children. Shadow Fox, thoughts and opinions on this?
Yeah, follow that, Shadow Fox.
Yeah, follow it.
Well, while I'm swimming underwater,
splash, motherfucker.
I was kind of done when I saw all the Isabel stuff. Like that was too soon. Like right after.
Oh yeah,
don't tell me Isabel stuff too.
Oh, there was a bunch of Isabel.
Oh my god,
that's been going on for
so
years.
Funny because I'm often suspected to be a furry for some reason. I'm like, let me tell you, that is not my thing.
To be fair, Fox is in your name.
I'm not in this world, so I'm just gonna stay in
my. What do you mean you ain't in this world? You be like. You're like, YouTube, I don't feel so good.
I just, I'm like, that's not even humanoid, so I don't even know why those attempts are made, but okay, I guess.
Hey, man, listen. Rule 34. That's all that matters.
This is true.
If it exists,
if it exists.
born of it. That's all that we need.
Way more than we need, and thanks to Mario Kart getting extra advertisement from you know who.
Oh yeah.
Google searches are happening for all the wrong reasons.
Yo, what the fuck is going on with the Mario characters recently? You just got all this sick shit going on.
It just seems like Nintendo characters lately, they all need a private browser.
Yeah. Do you remember all that shit that came out about Disney and how they hit all that subliminal stuff in the 90s cartoons? 90s, that's what Nintendo's doing.
That shit was real.
Yeah, it was real stuff.
It's all motherfucking conspiracy. And I guess last up but not least is Cray. Thoughts, opinions, questions?
Browse it. I was just flipping through yesterday. I think it was yesterday when I saw it. And I'm like, why did she look so humanoid? But at the same time, you know, like I said, I wasn't sure if it was real or fake. So I just kind of like kept going and browsing until this morning when I saw it was like more of a fan made. But I would like a new character introduction into the Mario universe as far as like a Bowser, you know, side. But as far as the character itself, I wasn't too intrigued with it. I was like, whatever. We'll see where they go. I don't think Nintendo will take it serious.
No, but I'd be curious if they said anything about it. But also, side note, I'm gonna throw out a Sega did it first here thing because it was actually pretty funny. When Sonic Mania came out, I think one of the Eggman bosses has Eggman upside down, and the way his model looks, someone took that model, upside down model, and turned that into a character. Like that's either a female Eggman or a Eggman's daughter image. And if I get the chance, I'll post it later, like in the chat and shit. So if we're gonna play the Sega does what Nintendo don't, Sega was first and had. And
these people gotta get more time.
Hey man, listen.
Something better with their time, man.
Hey man, listen. I appreciate the artistry. Like I said in my, it was funny because I mentioned in my video, I was like, man, I don't give a fuck about what anybody else had to say. I mean, pictures are pictures. I appreciate the artistry. And motherfuckers in my Discord just blew that shit up. I have like so many photos in my Discord that I cannot show anyone because I would probably get arrested. So keep that in mind. But we're gonna close that door for now. We might need to try to clean up our act a little bit. So we're gonna transition into some Capcom news because TGS was happening over the weekend. A bunch of stuff was talked about. Not a lot of super interesting, important stuff. Just some minor. I mean, there was a bunch of stuff, but just not like high tiered shit. But one of the things I wanted to mention, because people are recently getting up in arms about it, is the Devil May Cry controversy. Apparently, Capcom has put microtransactions in Devil May Cry. Well, yeah, Devil May Cry 5. The microtransactions allow you to purchase red orbs, which are used to level up your characters. And people are angry, rightfully so, because Capcom, it's that whole, you can do two good things, but you can't get to that third one without fucking something up. So I kind of just wanted to get everyone's thoughts and opinions, because Devil May Cry 5 is already kind of a big deal for fans, especially if you're fans of Bayonetta. Some people got introduced to that style of gameplay from Devil May Cry. So to see a new Devil May Cry game that possibly has some fuck shit in it before the game even releases is more than a little concerning. So I think I'll start with T.
Yeah,
He loves Capcom, so that's a good choice.
I want to talk to the biggest Capcom fan in the room.
It's my favorite company in the whole wide world. This is just another notch in their, bullshit armor. Well, I mean, it's like, I just find it strange. We talked about this beforehand before we came on. Like, microtransactions is a thing. It just is a thing right now. It's not going anywhere, I don't think. So, on the whole, I don't have a problem with it because I don't partake, so they don't affect me. Microtransactions, they don't affect me. It sucks for what they do, especially if they like adds, abilities to a certain person who doesn't want to play the game and learn and get that stuff that way. So and that's the case most of the time. Like that's the biggest problem that everybody has with it. If it was just for like cosmetics or something, then that's one thing. But if it's like adding abilities to a character, that's bullshit. And so that's what this apparently is doing. But my main problem is that why the fuck are there microtransactions in Devil May Cry? It's the wrong type of goddamn game to have microtransactions. It doesn't make sense. It would have made more sense to have microtransactions in Monster Hunter. Like it made more sense. Like I'm glad they didn't do it. I'm not saying do it, but it made more sense to have it in that game than in Devil May Cry, a mostly single player action, not adventure fighting game, like not fighting, but like action beat 'em up or whatever. So it doesn't make any sense for it to be in that. It's like having microtransactions to me in like what is it, Streets of Rage 4. Like, oh, there's what? Like, why are you putting transactions in that kind of game? First of all, it's bullshit.
Yeah, don't give them ideas about Monster Hunter though. They'll do that shit.
No, they said it right away. That was the first thing that you heard about Monster Hunter as far as that extra content goes, is that they were not going to do microtransactions. The developer himself said he didn't like the idea, that he'd rather you actually play his game instead of like buy your way through it.
That's good. I mean,
so yeah, that was a very cool thing that he said. And it's like, okay, well, this is Capcom too, but obviously the developer of Devil May Cry don't give a shit. Well, I don't care if you play my game or not, just give me money, son.
What's the difference between this type of microtransactions and like loot boxes?
I think microtransactions, you're getting what you pay for. Like, there's no gamble. You're just, hey, I want this.
Oh, okay.
I want this
like upgrades,
outfit or whatever. Rocket League. You're like, hey, I want the Batmobile, so I'm gonna pay $2 and get the Batmobile. That's a microtransaction. Where instead of it being unlockable in the game, you have to buy it on top of buying the game.
Right, and I don't actually have a problem. Oh, I do, because partially I have a problem with cosmetic ones, because you used to unlock that shit in games, but that era is long gone. That's just not going to happen anymore. You don't unlock anything in games anymore. Okay, fine. But like a cosmetic, that doesn't affect how your character works. Whereas what's going on with Devil May Cry in games like it, you do get a better character out of it.
That'd be like if Bayonetta 2, if all those costumes that I worked so freaking hard to unlock by using the in-game currency, like if I could just buy, like I would never, but I know some people would. Like to me, that takes at least 30 hours off my 62-hour playtime on Bayonetta 2.
Right.
So it's like I don't understand that mindset, but it's a proven to work thing, and I don't know if Devil May Cry is going to be, like you said, like is the right game for it. But I can say the worst example of it, and it didn't affect my overall view of the game, was Super Smash Brothers for Wii U. The fucking Mii costumes.
Yeah, true. I was pissed about that shit.
In the history of gaming, that's the worst, most bullshit microtransactions. Not just because it was Mii costumes, but because it was Mii costumes for characters that people like. We went out and bought $13 amiibos for,
right?
And then they're asking you to buy a fucking Sonic costume for your Mii, or a Mega Man costume for your Mii, whatever it was, and you have these amiibos sitting here that you already paid for.
To
me, that was the worst microtransaction. But I never bought any, and I still love the game, But so a game can have microtransactions and still be like a great game, and I wouldn't mind. But it definitely is that,
and it wasn't like a pay to win situation.
Mm-hmm.
Unless unless you're talking to the competitive scene, and then people say,
if it's a single player,
it's just that you have something that the amiibo was perfect for, right? Like we've had it, we've been able to do that in Mario Kart 8. Like you can use your amiibo to unlock different outfits, and it's like, why the fuck are you charging me when I already have all these amiibos?
I think the biggest problem
is more money for you.
It's developer inconsistency.
Yeah,
some developers that want to take the higher road more than others, and some developers can afford to do it. Like when you're doing with a franchise that doesn't sell as well, it's like, well, you don't get to make the decisions. It's the higher ups that get to make the decisions. And I don't know where Capcom values Devil May Cry right now. Like, I don't know if they consider that a AAA series. I would like to think so.
I think they do.
Yeah, I would like to think so. So I'm curious if this is just...
There's a lot of good hype around Devil May Cry 5 too. So I think they're like, oh, look at all these people that we can gouge more money out of. This game's probably gonna sell pretty well.
I think the biggest problem is that you don't need to burn the consumer off of all this good faith.
But that happens a lot.
And I feel like it's almost like that rule where people are like, yeah, one company can't do well for too long because their fucking ego or something gets in the way. It's almost like Capcom was doing too good for too long, and it was like, well, we gotta fuck something up here. I mean, we came out with Monster Hunter World, that did well. People are happy so far about Mega Man 11, at least generally, and people are excited about Devil May Cry 5. We gotta something's wrong. Yeah. We've been doing a little bit too well. I guess we gotta stick a broom out there and trip somebody.
I will say though, Capcom, they're not the best. I still have them way ahead of Sega, honestly.
That's not really the same.
Those are fighting words for Terrell.
Yeah, what?
Those are fighting words for Terrell.
Listen. As a company, I recognize Capcom is way better than Sega. Literally, Sega at this point only focuses on like 3 franchises. It's like Sonic, Yakuza, and Valkyria Chronicles of all fucking games. What? And that's it. That's all we get. At least Capcom is playing with their other IPs. So you know what? There you go.
Here's why it's different. Like if you put Sega and Capcom up today, yeah, okay. Capcom probably has the edge, but legacy-wise, Sega destroys Capcom's legacy.
Oh yeah, Sega has a better legacy. It's just that current.
So I'm just saying, like their legacy games when they drop these Sega Ages things and these compilations, like I'm way more excited for those than I am like Capcom stuff.
Yeah, but I think at least Capcom's making good efforts with their IPs as of right now, except for the small little dumb shit that they're doing, like with this stuff with Devil May Cry 5.
I think that might be different next year, though.
Well, great. I'm glad you're thinking possibly already in 2019. Goddamn, T.
Well, they're putting surveys out. Sega's putting surveys out. They want to know what we want, and they made a nice little list of like the top 10 games that fans want, and you wouldn't believe what's at the top of that list.
Ultra Beast? Ultra Beast?
No, not even close. Think Dreamcast. Dreamcast.
No.
What, Crazy Taxi?
No, you're getting hotter. It's the Jet Force.
I'm about to say. I thought you were gonna say Jet Set Radio for a second.
Yeah, Jet Set Radio, the Jet Set series. That's what people want at the top.
All right, GG. Because that game is still unique even by today's standards.
Yeah,
I think like the closest modern day equivalent is like Sunset Overdrive, and that's still not the same game, but it is the closest like modern representative. But I didn't want to go too. We will go too far in the second conversation.
Let's get out of it.
And I know Juice can't stand that shit. Yeah. So we can
talk about the Genesis collection coming to Switch finally.
Then we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Shut your mouth, sir.
Why the fuck wasn't it coming originally? That's all I gotta say.
Oh, shut up.
Because Nintendo decided to make a strange little system and not copy everybody else.
Hey man, that's what you get for being unique. But I was gonna say, Shao Fox, your opinion on the Devil May Cry microtransactions?
Man, it just sucks. Like I just don't understand why people can't make complete games anymore. And if your game has to be that big and it needs that big of a budget to complete, then I guess you got to sit down and spend that money and make that game over time. And then whenever you're ready to sell it, then sell it. Don't rush it to market, and then that's the way you're going to pay for it. You got to find other ways. I don't care if you got to do 50 million Dance Centrals or 50 million Just Dance or what have you to pay for it, then that's what you need to do. Because that we're losing the old school manner of how people sold games. If they were good, people bought them, and that doesn't happen anymore.
So Devil May Cry is gonna be like a 5-hour game. I mean,
God, I don't think it's that fucking short. I was gonna say, I wonder if it's more so. Do you think the microtransactions only exist to recoup the cost of developing the game more so than just?
I think it's twofold. One, I think game costs have skyrocketed so much because consumer demand has been fabricated so much by people using buzzwords that now it's a necessity because there's no other way to fund these projects, and publishers don't want to pay for them up front. Also, it's been accepted, so it's acceptable now. So,
well, I mean, look at how much money Fortnite's made. Most of that's off of microtransaction.
True. So either you make your game free to play, or you got to figure something else out. But I mean, selling part of a game that just was never.
Yeah, imagine Bayonetta 3.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I was like, this is literally
this is literally conversation we had before we got on.
That's a fucking slippery slope, man.
It's like I wouldn't partake as long as I could still unlock it normally. I don't. As much as I love Rocket League, my biggest complaint is, well, it's got the fucking loot boxes, which are, at least they give you every once in a while, you get free keys to unlock it. But the fact that you have to go out and buy the Batmobile or buy the Dominus, like one of the best cars in the game, and you have to go out and just buy the DLC pack. They can't just like unlock that, and especially how late the Switch got the game, they couldn't just make it a more complete version. It's the little things like that, and then the counter to that is they only make one game, and they're not making a sequel to it. They're just continuing with the game, so they got to continually try to keep making money, because eventually new customers are going to stop buying the game. Like, it's going to decrease every year, so they got to find some way to keep their employees and stuff paid, because they can't change the game or make a sequel because they have a whole pro competitive scene and everything based upon how this game works. So in some companies I can understand it, others in some games I can forgive it, like Fortnite. It's totally up to you if you want to spend your money. Like, it makes no difference to the outcome of the game. It's just all cosmetic stuff. So I never minded that, but I don't love the idea of it. But again, it's something I can, as long as I can just not choose to buy it and still be able to unlock that stuff, like in a Devil May Cry type game, then I'm fine. If there's something so cool, like if Bayonetta's Breath of the Wild costume and Bayonetta 3 is locked behind having to pay microtransactions, that'll piss me off.
So, like, it's gotta, somebody somewhere is paying attention to this shit, right? Like, does anybody remember Wii Sports Club?
Oh, Jesus.
No,
why you gotta make me remember that shit?
No.
Nope.
So this started off free. There were multiple tiers of how to buy this game and how to get the extra DLC for it. And for people that did not want to commit to any of that, there was a 24-hour trial that you could try for either one of them. And nobody liked that shit. So if Nintendo doesn't even get a pass, because everybody says Nintendo gets a pass for everything, and they found out really quick, oh, well, maybe this microtransaction shit is for the birds unless we sell costumes in Smash Brothers, that probably isn't the way to go. Like, there's other ways to do it. Like, make it, especially if you're selling pieces of a game. If it's additional shit, great. Like, people will want to do that. That's what they want to do, and it's not mandatory. But if you're talking about legitimate pieces that, that are part of a game, that's just a problem to me. I can't sit here and if you're gonna do that, just make it episodic out of the gate. Like, don't even attempt to tell me that I need to buy into this game. Just say, hey, this is DMC5 Chapter 1, and then just sell it for fucking $20 or whatever you want to call it, and then Chapter 2 comes out.
I feel like that arguably that would be more offensive. I mean, like, was anyone excited when they were talking about the Final Fantasy VII remake being episodic and shit?
No.
I think the episodic train has crashed and burned, and I don't see. Because I
think that would be more honest. It's probably still just as vomit inducing, but
that's Telltale. Oh wait, you can't.
No.
Damn.
More games.
You can to about 25 people. You can tell 25 people.
God dang.
I think more more games were starting to go that way years ago, and then it's like, people don't really like this. So, because I really probably the weakest part about Resident Evil Revelations, in my opinion, is how that stupid, even though it was all part of the launch game, the way they tried to make it like episodic just did not work for me. So,
well, here's the other thing: how do you put microtransactions into a Devil May Cry game? I don't
I don't know.
Like,
because it has very mild RPG elements. They're allowing you to buy what you would normally get from defeated enemies to level up your character.
that still doesn't make any sense.
Oh, I mean, it's literally, it's like paying for it, not even an easy mode, but you're paying to be better at the game. So if you're stuck on a section, the idea is, oh, well, I'll just pay to level myself up to the point where I can get past it.
Oh, that sounds super gross, but I guess that can appeal to some people.
It's kind of like for those who play Fire Emblem Heroes, you had to buy orbs. I mean, you get orbs daily for free, but you have to, if you wanted to, you can buy orbs to summon characters. They've essentially taken that mechanic and applied it to a hack and slash beat 'em up game with mild RPG elements.
I expect that in a mobile game. I don't expect that in an action game based on skill. Like I don't. Yeah. Okay.
Kind of like Mortal Kombat X. Couldn't you just pay $20 to unlock all the characters that are playing through the?
Yeah.
You could buy fatalities.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Which is
like
fucking
5
dumb.
fatalities.
What a bunch of bullshit.
That just seems insane to me. That's like buying supers and shit.
Yeah, back in the day with Mortal Kombat, I remember like I had to write down the moves for fatalities. I mean, just people don't have the patience anymore to just like either sit down and learn and get good at a game. It's easier just to swipe a card to get through the game.
That's crazy.
It's like, what's the point?
You have to know where to stand. You have to know when to do them. Some of them you couldn't do during certain times. Like none of that stuff exists anymore. Like nobody tries anything anymore. Nobody experiments.
I thought the point of playing games was playing the damn game.
Exactly.
We ain't got time for this shit.
Like everybody just wants the end goal now. Like, I don't want to play the game. Just what can I do to get me to the credits?
And that don't make any sense to someone who's been gaming as long as I have. Like I probably have 6 hours in the new Tomb Raider game, and I'm just so busy just trying to like. I uploaded a gameplay clip of I actually completed one of the challenges during the clip. I'm just looking for these things hanging, these like totems of like a raven or something hanging in the trees. You got as soon as I shot one, it told me there was 5 to get. And I probably wasted like 45 minutes just running around this area looking for those, gathering resources. And it's like to me, even though I'm not I wasn't a huge fan of collectathons that are just only collectathons basically, but I just really like that kind of stuff, and to me that's as much of the experience. When people usually criticize the reboot Tomb Raider games, they talk about how the story's not that, is kind of weak and the characters aren't that memorable. I'm like, I don't care. I'm so busy just enjoying like exploring and
the world,
doing that little stuff, like all the little things. Like,
do you know that's one of the main reasons I don't like the live stream when I play video games, especially a new game? Because I spend so much time bullshitting when I play a game. Like,
how many hours did you have in Xenoblade and you weren't even up to level 60?
I had like 220 hours in that game. Like, and I wasn't even like level 60 yet because I was just bullshitting. Like that's because that's what I like to do in games. I like to explore and just
take your time
and take my time with it.
And the funny thing is, I had a downvote in like the first 20 minutes of uploading that video. I'm like, somebody actually clicked on a gameplay video and downvoted it.
I tested my live stream, and I had like 20 to 30 people on there immediately because they saw me on there, and I guess because I ain't never streamed before, but I mean, it would be entertaining because I was godly powerful for whatever reason while I was streaming during that game. So it wasn't me playing the game from the beginning, which would have been extremely boring, I would imagine, for somebody to watch.
That's because I don't think watching me play games is fun because I'm having fun like digging in the nooks and crannies and shit. Like, that's what I like to do. So
if I decide to stream, it's gonna be a fighting game or
a multiplayer game.
If it's gonna be a role playing game, it's gonna be after I finished everything. I'm going back and I'm just killing bosses or whatever. But I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't have somebody endure me going because I'm gonna do a million missions.
You don't want to watch me playing Zelda. You don't want to see that shit.
Yeah, you don't want to see that at all. That's horrible. That's me trying all kinds of shit.
It seems like the new games are the ones that get the most stream attention. That's the funny thing.
Yeah, because nobody wants to play them. They just, it's so funny. I see people, and then y'all see the shenanigans I get into on Twitter or whatnot.
Oh yeah, you got blocked recently.
So, I get into arguments with people, and And they're like, well, so and so in this game, blah blah blah. So why is this game, blah blah blah? I'm like, have you played this game? And they're like, well, this person on YouTube said blah blah blah. I'm like, so what's happening is you're watching people play games, and then you're passing that opinion to argue with somebody over the internet as if you played it.
Well,
what the fuck kind of shit?
God
I
damn.
seen a movie reviewer review Spider-Man the game and just watched the cutscenes and reviewed it as a movie.
Oh my god!
Like, so people do.
I did see. I didn't watch that, but I saw that video.
Yeah, it was Grace Randolph, whatever.
Yeah, I was like, "Are you fucking serious?"
And,
that's like reviewing Zelda and just watching the cutscenes.
Like,
yeah, it's not gonna work.
You're telling me you're not getting a Sony check doing that kind of shit?
And it's
No,
like
of course
that
not.
how the emphasis of a lot of Sony games are the cinematics. But that one, she said, was only like 3 hours long. So that if that's all the cinematics,
Only 3
Yeah, I mean, it's supposedly just an open world game. Eventually, I'm gonna get around to it if my son stop playing fucking NBA 2K. But I can get in this game and start playing it. But it's an Insomniac game. They already made a great one. We know how it's gonna work. So I have no reason to doubt that it's probably, for a person like me, I probably could spend 100 hours in that game.
Oh yeah, like you don't want to watch me play Spider-Man because
I'll be all over the place.
I'm gonna be all over the place in that game.
Yeah, to me, it depends on the game. It depends what kind of gamer you are. It depends on what you should and should not stream or what you would want to watch or not watch. The problem is we're in the generation where people are more interested in watching games than playing games.
Well, it's not just watching. That's the problem. It's like if you just watched and shut the fuck up, maybe that would be okay. We have a lot of people in the chat. What you doing? You don't know how to play. What you do? Go over here, do this. I'm like, yo, shut up and watch this shit. Get out of here.
Yeah, like why are you here?
Tell me how to play. That's why I don't do it, because I see that all the time in live stream.
Unless you were like at one point you're like, I'm not sure where to go, so I was like, hey, go up to the left, go back.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I meant like people, basically critiquing your ability to play the game. That's the kind of shit that just gets.
Hey man, that sounds like some DSP type of shit. We don't co-sign on that.
But see, that's the fun part about playing the game is learning, right? So there might be a certain technique in how you play the game or whatever, and then you might not reach that epiphany on being better at playing that game until later. But that epiphany is the draw of the game to begin with. So let a motherfucker get there.
Yeah, because it's a journey that you have to take.
These people are always like gaming experts, by the way. They don't have any proof of it, but they're always like super gaming experts when they try to tell you what to do.
That is the best feeling in the world, is finding out some shit that I didn't know how to do, or it was something I knew how to do, and then I found out a completely better way to do what I was doing in that game. Like later on, like Xenoblade wouldn't have been fun at all. Me going through that game the first time and then knowing I have to wait so long to get some of the things that I end up getting in that game.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't even have been fun at all. But getting to fly in my scale for the first time, I damn near threw up. I was like, this is just great. This is wonderful for me. And then you learn certain things about the game. I mean, in other games too, it's the same way. Like I think I used the grappling hook like 1,000,000 times when I first got it in Arkham Asylum. So it's like they set up these games in a way where they give you toys every little bit or whatever, and then you figure out how you want to use them. And they've already shown you like 5 or 6 different ways that you could use it before you got it finally. They're like, hey, look at this thing. You could probably use something here, and then they show it to you. So it's like telling somebody you suck the whole time while you're playing it, and later on you're going to see this, so you should use it this way. Like you're taking the fun away from the person.
There's definitely the case with why for me, I don't go back and replay a lot of games. Even the ones that I absolutely love. Like I've only played through Metroid Prime one time fully. Second time on hard, I got to the final boss and couldn't, and just. Actually, I only got to Ridley. It was either Ridley or the final boss. I was like, you know what? This is just too hard.
Got
distracted. The Omega Pirate for me on hard.
Oh, that Omega Pirate.
Omega Pirate was fucking hard as shit.
Who was first? Was Ridley
It was Omega
got to
Pilot,
Ridley for
Omega
sure.
Pirate, then Metal Ridley.
Yeah, I got to. It was the Ridley one, I think. But anyway, and then I started it again on the Wii U, but I only got about halfway. So for me, even though I love that game and I love games, it's the play. Most games I like are adventure style games, and even like a Mario platformer. Most of the luster's gone for me because it was that I'm learning a new thing, I'm getting better as I go, like that. That's the enjoyment for games for me. Is the even if it has similar mechanics and stuff, it's still you're still figuring stuff out unless they absolutely did add any new mechanics and all. But that's to me that's the joy and the reason I play the games is for that learning experience and figuring stuff out. Like I never played RPG, like a serious RPG ever in my life until Xenoblade Chronicles X, which isn't, your typical RPG, but I had to figure most of that game out. I mean, I had to look up some stuff just to kind of get a handle on things, but the joy of that game, besides the exploration, was figuring out what I could do. Like I used to just randomize or put on the best gear, but then about 100 hours into the game, I started like slowly picking my gear based on stat buffs, and like I learned so much. But there's also a few things that maybe if someone could have told me in the beginning, I could have avoided wasting a bunch of time, or it could have really helped the experience.
Like me.
Don't go to that fucking pond. That thing sitting in the middle of the pond, don't go there.
So I guess the question would be at that point then, Juice, was the trade-off of not knowing the things if you would have known, would have made it easier. Was that not knowing was that worse or better than having that full experience of discovery and learning the whole systems and how everything worked and whatnot?
I mean,
go ahead.
I can't think of a specific example, but I know there has been games where I got to like, oh shit, I could do that. Jesus, I wish I knew that like before I got to the end of the game. Like there's a few of those over my life of playing a game that it'd been nice to know beforehand. It would have made the experience more enjoyable. But for the most part, I do just like learning as everything myself. But
everybody here play Octopath, right?
Yeah.
Well, everybody.
I put 40 hours in that game before I realized that the nuts for permanent stat boosts. So I just had a shitload of them in my inventory and never used them. So
yeah, but see, it's one of those like God dang it moments where
really.
No, I remember a moment in Xenoblade X where I got to a certain part where how I started a mission and I saved. I did the dumbass thing about saving right in the middle, so I had to complete that mission. I think it was Elmas, and I had to beat two big dog-looking monsters in over by the desert, and for the love, I could not beat those two fuckers until I just gave up. I think like 3 months later, I went back in and kind of like what you were saying, you start messing around with the gear, and I'm like, well, if I was messing around with the gear, and what could help me beat these two fucking monsters? And the night that I beat them, man, I felt so happy because I accomplished something that I couldn't do for fucking months.
Hey, you're talking about the post game missions, right?
Yeah, post game missions. Yeah.
I remember that fight.
Yeah, I for like the longest I just could not get over past them. Then I felt like accomplished when I went back in, and I'm like, well, if I tweak this and that. But before that, how you could go on and do other missions. Well, I went on and did other missions. That's how I learned, and I got the idea of switching up my gear. But it's just one of those games where, to me, X, like, I learned a lot. After 375 hours, I think I was over 300 hours, and I was still learning stuff out of that game. And
you will. You will.
But, yeah.
And I think that's kind of the trade-off. It's like, I think the problem with modern gamers is that some modern gamers don't have that kind of patience. Like modern gamers will hit a wall and be like, fuck this.
Well, I think it's the whole part of it. I think it's part of the whole like trophy achievements generation. Like it's like, oh, I just want that thing, I just want to beat it and move on to the next thing.
I think that has something to do with it. I don't know. Maybe I
Well,
might be
well, I think the problem with that generation is that that means everything that they do is based off of. I just need to get the ding that told me I got the trophy versus us.
So I could show other people, which is just
Yeah,
dumb.
versus the older generation that was just like, I want to do it for me. Like it's for personal. Like
gaming is very personal for me. It's like a very personal thing. And even like I said, live streaming is like a weird thing for me because it's like I'm trying to, I'm trying to get lost in this world, and it's hard to do that when there's like 500 people sitting and we're watching me while I'm playing.
That's why it's best to replay or play like a competitive.
I had to come to that realization. It's like, all right, if I'm gonna live stream, it's gonna have to be like older games because I can't do newer games that way.
Because
it's either that or turn off the damn comments and just keep moving.
Or even that, it's just like there's eyes on you while you're playing, and for me, I like midnight, 1 a.m. just like really digging into a game like I did with the State of Mind recently, and I'll talk about that game. But yeah, it's like that's what I like to do, and it's taking away from that experience for me when I doing my just bullshitting in a game and like.
Even
I like to explore the world and just mess around and see what I can find and that kind of stuff. So.
I recorded myself playing Tomb Raider while it was like it wasn't a super hard puzzle, but it definitely required, like, I was trying to talk, I'm recording it, and I haven't uploaded it because I'm probably not going to. And I completely, like, I rewatched the replay, and I'm like, first of all, like, how did I not know to go there first? But, I was talking, I was distracted, I kept getting distracted. And I was like, it just made solving that puzzle and everything just way less of a personal experience. Like, I was just so focused on trying to talk and stuff, like I missed out on the experience, and it was a pretty cool sequence. So I ended up just kind of going into an auto mode as a long-time gamer and a third game in the series. I already kind of know how everything works, it was like when I used to do my motorcycle vlogs where I'd ride and talk, and I wouldn't take in the scenery. I wouldn't take in the ride. I was so preoccupied trying to come up with something to say that I'd miss out on the experience of what the joy of riding a motorcycle was, just being out, seeing, awesome scenery and taking a nice ride, so I kind of feel like I shouldn't talk over gameplay unless it's like a game I've played a million times or something. I don't know. It just takes away from the gaming experience.
But if you don't, then your audience is bored, and you're consciously wondering, are people bored watching me play this the whole time?
And then you look at the views of your video, and you're like, oh, I guess they are bored.
Get 8 views,
right?
I don't even like listening to music while I'm playing a game, especially like like a story.
Oh yeah,
game. I can't. I see my nephew with the headphones and just blasting music and playing a game, and I'm like, how the hell do you concentrate?
I can do that. It depends on the game.
You're missing half the game doing it.
Yeah.
It's a game I played before.
I can do it. I've done it with fighting games like that.
I don't know.
Well, I think fighting is different. I think
fighting is different. Yeah, that's a different thing.
I don't know though, with how good like the music in ARMS is, I would definitely not want to cover that.
Oh no, ARMS, I don't do it.
Oh yeah, specific fighting games. Like
I'm just saying certain games I've done that where I've cut off the main, especially if it's like songs I've heard before, which is kind of the issue of backtracking in certain RPGs and shit. But for the most part, yeah, I listen to the main music. Also, we've gone so fucking far away from the original.
Yeah, way out there.
That's all right. We didn't really have any
what
great topics, did we?
No, go ahead.
Right now, when I was just thinking about the whole back to the transactions. You know how like a lot of nowadays games there's a lot of hand holding.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I was just thinking right now. It wouldn't the microtransaction be like the new modern way of hand holding, because like we were talking earlier, like people and kids nowadays, they don't have the patience or time. I want to say time because they have time, but they don't have the patience to play a game fully. So like if you're playing a game like Devil May Cry, instead of hand holding them, that's the new way of, give me money and I'll give you the, hand holding. It's a pay to win type of thing.
That's hand holding on steroids, man.
Yeah, it's the new way where it's going. I don't like it. I hate it. It sucks.
Well, yeah, you got a generation of kids grew up just tapping their screen for to get through a
Just tapping
game.
that shit.
This is old man juice here. He's
Yeah, this is old man talking, old people
back
talking
in
over
my
here.
day.
I've said this 100 times over the years, but my nephew was he had like an N64 that was given to him, but he didn't play a lot, and so his like big first game was I don't know if it was Skylanders, it was something along those lines on the Wii. And so he got a DS or a 3DS, I forget which one, and so I was like, oh, you can start playing some real games. So I loaned him some games, and I told the story a bunch of times. He's playing like Zelda, I forget which one. I think it was A Link Between Worlds. And I'm like, it was like 2 months later, like, how far did you get? And he's like, I haven't done anything. I was like, well, how many hearts do you have? He's like, I still have 3. And like, he's like, I keep searching the world and I just get to this area and there's a wall and it has like some weird, like a spot, like a doorway covered in rocks or a crack or something. I forget what he said. And I'm like, well, did you bomb it? And he's like, no. He's like, you can bomb stuff? I'm like, yes. Like, he didn't even know the basics of, I mean, that's a Zelda thing for sure, but other games. But he didn't even think that there was games where you just had to use the tools you have to solve a problem. You know, like he's just so used to the games being just so easy and not having to think.
He was looking for follow over somebody's head.
Yeah,
right.
He's some bad parenting there.
Well, my brother,
you're not doing your job there.
My brother's older than me. He thinks gaming's just stupid and a waste of time. So
it's good for the kids, especially a game like Zelda where there's problem solving. That is a good thing for kids.
So he's better now, but
relations.
Now he's older. He plays Call of Duty and Fortnite while he plays. So
this is also funny considering one of the praises God of War PS4 got this year was talking about, oh, look at the cool puzzle solving, and I'm like, you mean turning the dial to a certain shit? I'm like, oh, well, that explains it because most gamers apparently think Zelda puzzles are hard as fuck.
Throw the axe to stop to line up these 3 revolving.
It's like the most basic shit, and
Uncharted shit.
And people are like, "This is puzzle solving."
So
I love Uncharted, but they ain't no damn puzzles in that.
I got
a question, and I don't want to derail, but like I asked this the gamers at large before. I think maybe some years back. Show of hands of who actually got stumped by the water temple.
I actually got through it.
Actually, the what on the Ocarina of Time?
Yes.
I never understood why. I mean, I understand why people got like frustrated, but that tempo to me was easy.
I wouldn't say I thought it was easy. I would say at times I knew what to do. It was just at times tedious.
The first time I played obviously was difficult, right? But like, because I played it a few times, and then after my second playthrough, I understood like what I needed to do, so it was easy for me to understand it.
So the water level, once you know where you let the water up and let it down, I mean, that's pretty much the gist of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, compared to most other games, it's way more involved.
Oh yeah, no, don't get me wrong. It's definitely way more involved. It's not like simple, push over. But it's not what you would have found in like Uncharted. So a similar puzzle.
So this is where, and I hate to say this, but Nintendo taught you how to solve that problem before there was even 3D, and they did that in the same franchise. They did it in Link to the Past, in the 5th dungeon, where you had like 7 floors. They did the same thing. The only difference was you weren't using water. So all they did this time was give you 3 floors with water and give you the same problem, except you have to navigate in 3D and remember where you are in 3D space. So as soon as I was in there and I saw that, I knew exactly what I was being tested for. So so it was just bewildering to me because everybody at the time, I guess at that point in time, before there was forums and all that other kind of stuff, everybody came to I guess it was Electronics Boutique at the time before GameStop bought everything. And people were just in there like, man, because everybody bought that game time it came out. And people just come in there and they're like, man, I'm stuck on this one part. And I would just snicker every time I walk back in there. And I hear people complaining about the game. I'm like, yeah, man, come on. They showed you what to do.
The only time I got stuck on Ocarina of Time when it came out was when I was at the Ganon's Tower and I didn't have the fire arrows.
Yeah,
because I did not know that when I exited the water temple, I didn't know I had to shoot the sun for the arrows.
Yeah.
So I went months and just stuck. And then I remember just one time.
It's very cryptic. Like
yeah.
The clues sometimes in Ocarina of Time is very cryptic. But
it gives you a general area.
Yeah, it gives you a general idea.
So
I got lucky with that one.
I went in. I went back in, and and I read the sign. I'm like, oh. And then I just had the idea, the epiphany came to me. I'm like, well, if I shoot the stupid sun, and that fucking arrows came, and I ran upstairs and I woke up my cousin. I'm like, I fucking figured it out. I went back downstairs.
I remember like screaming, like, yeah, that was cool as shit.
Yeah.
Like, that was really cool. That was a cool puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a puzzle, but the first time, the first time, I don't know if this is the water temple or the spirit temple. I think it's the water temple. And I walk out, and then there's this giant puddle, and then there's a tree, and then you walk up there and you see Dark Link for the second time. But hopefully it's the second time if y'all follow Zelda. But I was terrified because I remember how much of a pain of an ass he was in Zelda 2. So now I go up and I see Dark Link. I say, oh shit, what is this? Oh God, am I really about to go through this right now? I've never felt like I wanted to run when I first saw.
But he's just terrifying to begin with. Looking at me, he's a dark creature with red eyes, and that's just that's freaky to begin with.
Just ridiculous. So it's really hard to beat Dark Link, even 20 plus years later, legitimately. Like everybody knows the trick to beat him, but like beating him like as a straight up sword fighter,
without the trick.
It's literally luck. Like you're. That's probably one of the most terrifying.
Is that the one where you need like the broadsword like forged so it don't break?
The big Goron?
No, he's talking about. Are you talking about Twilight Princess or
no? This is Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, when you faced him and if you use the long sword or whatever, he didn't.
He couldn't mimic you. He couldn't
mimic you, but if you use the Master Sword, there's nothing you can do.
He was just an ace. Yeah, every now and then you would get a lucky shot in, but usually you weren't winning that one.
So, Devil May Cry,
Went off on a tangent there.
Oh, that's it's fine. It's fine.
This is way more fun to talk about this shit.
It's fine. I'm gonna it's gonna be a weird transition, but we're gonna transition anyway. Just the goddamn, that was a lot of shit. But hell,
it's my fault.
Hey man, it's cool. I
I
appreciate the fun and comedy of it all. So I guess the next thing I had on the list was talking about the N64. The PlayStation Classic.
What's the official name?
It's like PlayStation
Classic.
PlayStation Classic. Yeah, that's what it's called. So right now, what we know about it is it comes out on December 3rd, and it has 20 games available on the console. I think only 5 of them we know right now, which is Final Fantasy VII, Jumping Flash, Ridge Racer Type 4. Ridge Racer Type 4.
Ridge Racer Type 4.
No.
Ridge Racer Type 4.
Ridge Racer.
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 Stop.
Ridge Racer.
Guys, I literally only have 2 more damn games to mention.
That was so awkward.
Tekken 3 and Wild Arms. So those are the 5 games we know about. The other 15 they have not told us
They're
yet.
definitely copying Nintendo, not just on the system, but on how they're going to slowly reveal these games. Like
that was so Nintendo to me. I'm like, what? PlayStation?
They're just straight plagiarizing.
So apparently the unit will come with an HDMI cable, a USB cable, and 2 wire controllers. It does not come with an AC adapter though.
That's
another Nintendo thing.
And, it comes with replicas of the original PS1 controller.
Are the controller cords 3 foot long, or
I don't see shit about
Nintendo controller.
All it says is that it has the there's no comment of how long the cords are. We have no idea. Oh, it's $100, and finally to finish it off, it's $100.
For $100, it better be 6 feet long. Shoot.
Yeah. So
I'm actually interested. I wish it came with the AC adapter though for that price.
the irony for me,
You
because
can
I'm
get
like,
by without it because you can just.
I mean, you can, but the point is, should you have to?
It should be in there.
so are we officially that old? Like, is 5th generation classic now?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're excited for N64 classic, so we got to be fair. I mean, it is classic.
I mean, how is Warhawk? You know, one of the. I think that came out in the first few months. Like, if you saw that footage now, it's like probably looks like ass. But I remember that being the most awesome experience.
Some nasty ass.
Well, for me, it was Wipeout and Toshinden, and I don't think either one of those games.
Battle Arena Toshinden. I was just gonna say, man. Those were the games I had. I had Wipeout and Battle Arena Toshinden. Those were my first.
I mean, there's some games that I'd be shocked if they don't get announced that would definitely make it appealing to a lot of people. Like, I mean, if not the trilogy, at least the original Tomb Raider that people hold in such high regard.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Also, apparently this thing comes with a virtual memory card.
Oh my god, that's
I don't know why. Why would you do that?
Because it's cheaper for them to do that than have like flash more. Because that's what I was saying. Once you get to the,
does it got to be connected to the internet?
Those things.
No, there's no internet connection. There's not even.
What do you mean virtual memory card?
That's what they call. That's what I
think
see.
that's just the internal memory probably acts.
No, there's a picture of the back of the PlayStation that has the micro USB port and the HDMI port.
No.
But then there's like a tab that you can pull open for something else.
Asking for trouble.
Probably a thumb drive or something, or some type of flash card.
Well, they did say something about the virtual virtual disk. I don't know if that's
this is gonna be mad hack.
On the Amazon page, they have like full images of it. Yeah. I don't know what the hell it's for, but that's what it says, which is a little confusing.
So like somebody somewhere, whoever licensed the Raspberry Pi project, they're like a billionaire right now.
Yeah,
like between Nintendo and Sony buying these bitches, and then I think So I guess imagine Microsoft somewhere like, we got to fit this Pentium 3 on a chip.
Ain't no way.
So I guess the first question would be, how does everyone feel about that price?
That's fine. I mean, Super Nintendo's $80, ain't it?
No. Was it?
No.
Yeah, it's 80. Because the
79,
60,
I think.
Right?
Because the NES was 60.
Mm-hmm.
So the Super NES was 80.
If it didn't come with 2 controllers, I'd be like, what the fuck? That's a little pricey.
But those are legit Super Nintendo controllers, and you can plug them in your fucking Wii remote if you want. So that's good.
I'm wondering what these PlayStation, the ends look kind of unique of the cord. So I wonder if that plugs into anything else, or if that's just
USB. That's USB.
Yeah, I think it's just USB for
it. Looks wide though.
It is USB. I thought it wasn't at first, but it is.
I mean, that looked like USB from what I see.
Okay.
But which means I guess you can use a PlayStation 1 controller on
probably on the Switch.
I mean,
well, my question is, why would you want that? That's not really I don't know.
Why would you want to use the GameCube controller? I don't know. People.
The GameCube controller has analog sticks. It still has most of the modern conveniences of a fucking modern game controller. The PS1 controller is missing like.
But that's what I'm saying though. The only thing it's missing 2 more triggers and 2 analog sticks originally. Yeah. So, but like, what are we really like? You could do this and not even have the classic controller. Like, you can just.
Why wouldn't you use the modern controller?
Just plug the fucking DualShock up to it, because it eventually used it by the end of the generation.
Actually, I think about it. Can you plug? I'd be curious if you can't plug the DualShock 4 into it.
To me, that would be the better answer, because if they put Ape Escape on there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Some of the games had analog.
Why not DualShock 3?
Yeah, because
they brought out analog stick control later on.
Yeah, so it launched with Ape Escape.
It launched with Ape Escape. Yeah.
So you think that they're gonna come out with the DualShock later on for this thing?
They do that. There's some bullshit.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to play a 3D game with just the D-pad.
Well, you're charging people more on some shit you knew you were gonna do. It's like that's my problem with the SNES or the NES controllers for the online stuff. It's just like, bitch, you dropping a Super Nintendo. Why don't you just give me the Super Nintendo controller now?
Just give them both.
Right, and I can have both right now. Like,
You charge me more later when you know you're doing this. That's the shit I don't like.
Yeah, and that just changes my opinion too because I didn't realize this didn't have the analog stick.
Oh yeah, this is
they're using the old. They're using like the first version.
That's gonna
of the controller.
1995.
That's gonna limit which games are coming, and that's what they're
I
gonna
mean, you can play Tekken. That's
whoop de fucking do. We can play
Can't play
Tekken,
Metal Gear Solid.
Well, that's it. That's one of the games even
but
announced.
You could play Bushido Blade.
It's kind of crazy how much. It's also kind of crazy how many third-party games on PlayStation 1.
Yeah, versus Nintendo.
God, this thing's that's a disaster then if
Oh, I thought you knew that part.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, about to say, I thought.
Because I was happy at first too, and then I was like, wait a minute, that's just the first controller. That's a lot of games you cutting out of it.
Yeah.
Getting cost.
I guess that's what I'm saying. The only trade-off would be is if you have a PlayStation 4 and they allow you to use it.
If you could plug that in, but then is it going to come launched with games? It says press the open button.
Or PlayStation 3. My DualShock 3 should
actually,
work.
when I think about it, did the SNES Classic even it has the Wii input?
Yeah, it has the Wii input.
Could you use a Wii mode nunchuck?
You can use a classic control, yeah.
Okay. Maybe.
Yeah,
the problem is the game also has to support the analog. Like it has to like.
So we know it works one way. I haven't tried the other way to see if the Wii peripherals worked on the Classic. I haven't tried that yet, but it okay. I know it does work the other way around. They specifically designed it that way. So
yeah.
See, that's my concern. Like the $100, fine, but if you don't have an analog stick on that controller, considering the kind of games you could play on this system, it's like either the selection of games is now worse by proxy, or my controller options are worse by proxy. Because if this thing, obviously, if this thing doesn't connect to the internet, that means by default it has to actively support analog control or input, and there is no 100% guarantee that it does. Because even if you could plug in a PS3 or PS4 controller, if it doesn't recognize the analog stick, what the hell is the point?
You can't expect people to go buy after buying this classic controller or after buying this classic.
Yeah, I gotta go pay
to go out and buy
fucking dollars.
Whatever it's gonna cost for. You can't expect them to just have you can't expect them to have a DualShock 3 or 4 at home. That's not good business. You can't expect them to already have these things.
You also can't expect them to have an AC adapter, but we see how that went.
Right. So I think if you're gonna put out a system like this that doesn't come with the DualShock controller, you're not gonna have DualShock games on it. That's my thought. Unless you can download or something.
Just said I just read that Sony confirmed there's no post-launch content coming to the thing. So.
Okay, so there you go. So there's no way you can add DualShock games.
It's a fail because
it's a total fail.
Metal Gear
Solid. Then why is Tekken 3 there? Because Tekken 2 should be there.
That's what I said. But I think somebody made a good point
with the game lineups.
Somebody made a good point is that when Tekken 3 they added a lot of characters. What were they saying? I can't remember. Somebody made a point in another podcast I was in, and it made sense. On Tekken 3, they added a bunch of staple characters.
There's a lot of stuff on there and all the different modes and stuff too. So
yeah, I think that's why it's Tekken 3. Because Tekken 2 was obviously the more popular one. I think was the one most people remember as being the big one. So
I guess the concern now is that if you've limited the amount of games you can use because this thing only works with a D-pad, the only hope for it is that it might support the DualShock 3 or 4 that has an analog stick, and hopefully that it just works with the analog sticks. But there is no guarantee that's going to be a thing. And I would agree it's fucking stupid. If it does work, why not just bring out the analog stick variation of the original DualShock?
Like if you really start to think about it, like break it down, like here's where the N64 has advantages that the N64 Classic will have advantages over this, is that as far as price wise, because I think the price is what it is, and they took out the AC adapter to make a little extra money. I think it's because of the storage. You remember, like the PlayStation games are 600 megabytes plus, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Especially if you get into like the dual, or not the dual, but the multiple disc games, like Final Fantasy VII.
Resident Evil games, some of them?
That game goes up into the gigs. So it's like
they haven't confirmed it, I don't think.
Well, was that a multi-disc? Any of the Resident Evil games multi-disc? Seems like some were.
It's like not like
No,
I could have sworn one of them was one
no,
and two.
no. I have 2 and 3
On the GameCube, they
They're
were.
not.
On the GameCube.
Mm-hmm.
On the GameCube, they were, because the GameCube was only a gig and a
Oh,
half.
right.
So the N64 Mini is going to be interesting because of the 4 ports on the front of the original console. I think that's going to be hard to replicate, ain't it?
I don't think.
Well,
I think it's going to do that, but it's going to actually end up being 2 ports.
Oh god.
Well, here's the question: do you think they're going to go with the Wii connection again, or are they going to go with something
I think
different?
that just because that was already a developed. I think the reason they went with that is because they developed it for the Wii,
Cheap tech.
and it was already, they didn't have to do any R&D. It was just a connection that they knew and that worked. Rather than just use a basic USB like Sony did.
Yeah, you don't have to pay whoever owns USB.
Also, I don't know.
Yeah, you got to pay the license for
You
it.
don't have to pay the license for it. So it's smart. That's a cost saver right there.
Also,
But
I'm pretty sure there aren't going to be that many people wanting to use the N64 controller on anything else other than
Virtual console games.
People don't even like
the
using
Wii.
the N64 controller on like normal games.
Which I don't get.
There's a lot of
interesting.
I
to
know.
see.
I've heard it, but I just don't understand it.
Well, here the interesting thing will be: will they make the analog stick like the original?
Oh no, I think it'll be
technology,
GameCube.
or will it be a modern
I think they'll use the
analog
GameCube.
stick?
Or
I think the GameCube one's better anyway.
that's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, because I don't like that plastic stick. That I mean, it's
When it was new, it
Ding.
didn't.
Yeah.
No
That
problem.
thing
When it
kills
gets old,
phones.
there's no way they're gonna go back and make that chalky ass joystick. They're not gonna do that.
You never know. You
I
never
doubt
know.
it.
That
I
is
doubt
true.
it.
We don't know. I guess the last question is, what games would you want on the PS1 Classic?
I should have made a list, but
I think I said Warhawk because that was one of the first. I think the first game I played on the system. Probably some of the Resident Evil games, even though I don't think they aged that well, and I think the remake on GameCube's way better. But Tomb Raider, if it had analog sticks, I mean, I didn't own a PlayStation. That's why it was kind of appealing to me because I never owned one in my life. So I was like, hey, this is a chance to
makes
play
sense.
some games I never played, and but definitely not going to do it with the way they're handling it. So, Retro Death said Silent Hill.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I mentioned Tenchu before I mentioned Bushido Blade, but
Tenchu, Bushido Blade, those all make sense.
Wasn't Brave Fencer Musashi a
Brave
PS1
Fencer-
game?
Yeah, but it's
that's
like,
PS1.
are they gonna? That's the type of games I would like to see, but I don't think you'll see stuff like that. Vagrant Story. I don't think you'll see those types of games. I think
You
you'll
think
get.
they'll do the Spyro games, even though the trilogy's coming?
I feel like that. At least the first one.
Yeah, I
Maybe
think
that's
they
why
have
they
to do
delayed
it.
it.
Spyro's
they-
analog stick game too, though.
Oh, that's
yeah.
true. That's right.
It's like Crash Bandicoot.
What about Crash?
Crash
Crash you could do.
Crash
That
will
could-
definitely be there. I think.
Yeah, that'll get away with that.
I'm
I
more
think.
surprised that wasn't like just announced and shit.
Yeah, that's weird, right? You think
Like,
Crash?
why
would
is
be
that not one of the
ones?
first games they mentioned?
Yeah.
Because it's Activision. I don't know.
Well, that is true. I like how like most
Yeah,
of the
it's third
fucking
party
Sony
now.
games aren't really Sony games anymore.
I'm gonna tell you what would be badass. What would be badass if they went and got Santa Monica to make a God of War game in like with PS1 visuals. That'd be badass. Like
Oh,
they just go
man.
back and make a God of War classic.
That would be very interesting. I would love
yeah,
to see that.
that'd be cool. I would try it.
I think I'm like, well, Gran Turismo has to be there, but I'm like, who wants to play that?
Yeah, but I say
Who wants to play that with the D-pad one? Which is actually that's the way I played it mostly.
I think
'cause
that's how I play
Yeah.
it.
because
Gran
it,
Turismo 2. Ooh, man.
two, yeah. But here's the thing: licensing. You have to license those cars again. I
All
would think,
those cars.
separately. I don't know how they would do that. I don't know.
Just like why Tecmo Super Bowl is never on the virtual console because
Right.
they had actual NFL teams and players.
Right.
Yep.
So
Ruby makes a good point about the N64 if they had like different colored versions.
Hey,
That
here's
was
the
what
thing:
they sold them.
N64 games, they got up to what 56 megs.
Oh,
at the
more than
highest.
that.
I thought 256.
More than that. Some of those carts were
Well,
4
yeah, like
megabytes.
Resident Evil 0 or Resident Evil 2 and stuff. Some of those games, but most of the games were around 32 to 56 megs,
Yeah.
and it'd be a lot easier, especially as far as pricing, how much you're gonna charge with the hard drive space or flash memory. It's a lot easier to put 20 something games on there than it is to put PS PS1 classic, which obviously they're gonna have to. That's part of the reason it's $100, because of the space of these games. It's much bigger than anything else out there, as far as the classic minis go. So I understand the price sucks, but that's why flash memory is going to be bigger in this console, especially if you're doing 20 games.
Yeah.
Resident Evil, or not Resident Evil, but Final Fantasy VII. That's like at least 2 gigs.
Oh yeah, considering
it's close.
I'd be curious how much memory this.
How much memory is going to be in this thing?
That's my question.
More than the Switch.
I don't expect to see Final Fantasy 7, 9, or whatever in there. I think it'll just be Final Fantasy 7. That's it, because that thing is going to take up so much space, and then you're going to get like, Jumping Flash. You're going to get shit like that. The early PlayStation games. You get Crash. You get.
Twisted Metal. Forgot about that one.
Twisted Metal.
True.
You'll get stuff like that, but it won't
didn't have analog control on that.
No, the first one, I don't think I think they all you could control with the D-pad, but
you had the button to turn on the analog.
Yeah.
Oh right, I'm about to say, because I could have swore I remember when I played that. I think I played it with analog. That's why I was like,
yeah, you could play it either way.
Oh, okay, so it gave you the option.
Yeah.
We've exhausted that, and there's not a lot else to cover. I guess the last thing I can casually mention. Let's talk about Telltale and not existing anymore. So I think it was announced today, actually, that they are closing down their studios. So no more point and click adventure games with popular franchises.
Did they mention why they're closing down? Is it just the lack of sales?
Sales, yeah.
I think it was just sales. I think that was the core. I think it was like bankruptcy. They were declaring bankruptcy.
Well, everyone loved the original based on The Walking Dead, but it seems like after that it kind of...
Okay, here we go.
Well, they overextended themselves. That was the problem. It's like the
company is experiencing a majority studio closure due to a year marked by insurmountable challenges. Does it give me any? It's been an incredibly difficult year for Telltale as we work to set the company on a new course. Unfortunately, we ran out of time trying to get there. We released some of our best content this year and received a tremendous amount of positive feedback, but ultimately that did not translate to sales. With a heavy heart, we must watch our friends leave today to spread our brand of storytelling across the games industry. So
the problem with Telltale is that they needed more original content. When you're licensing all this stuff, you got to pay
for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, at the same time, we were just talking about earlier, like everybody watches like on YouTube, they watch story-based games, so that could have eaten into their sales.
Telltale is not a game. To me, Telltale games are you could watch and get the same experience in playing them.
You could,
for the most part.
That's the bad side of it. It's like there's nothing to really experience playing the game other than that story. It's not
and the kicker is that the Walking Dead game never finished. Now it was on its final season.
I know, that's so weird.
They said the Stranger Things one is still ongoing though. It didn't get canceled. I guess Netflix is going to pay for it. Whoever else to finish it.
No, shit. I didn't know they were making one.
Yeah, that's the reason I heard about that one.
Definitely never played those games. The only time I ever seen quote unquote gameplay of it was when Robert got the Batman one and he like streamed it on his channel when he used to do video games on his channel. And I'm like, this is a video game.
Why did you say it like that?
It was one of the last things I remember him game related, like showing gameplay of, and I'm like, why would you want to quote unquote play this? Like it wasn't a great Batman story. It didn't have the full like voice acting talent that you would expect, and it's just God. It was
really because it's
boring
still fun. I watched. I understand the appeal, I was still entertained by it.
But here's the thing: like
there's a precedent for it.
Those like I'm an old school like point and click PC dude. Like those games should have appealed to me. I couldn't give two shits about Telltale games because unlike those games that I grew up playing, there wasn't like the puzzle element to it. Like you used to get in point and clicks. It was just like straight go through
you screwed up, then okay, this is how you do it, and then you go through that. There was no like
consequences.
Hook. There was no hook. There was no consequence. Right?
You ain't even like Sam and Max.
Oh, I love Sam and Max. But see the thing about Sam and Max. Sam and Max has personality.
Yeah, true.
That's what the draw to those games were. They had that personality, that quirk, that comedy element. Like that's what drawed you into those games. But Walking Dead, people loved it. It got a lot of accolades. But it's Walking Dead. Like I know pretty much what I'm going to get from it as far as a dramatic wise. That's just not enough pull for me to buy that game. Like I need that it from those types of games, and I didn't get it from that. Those games never pulled me into Telltale style.
So I saw a lot of potential with them being popular developers at the time because I remember the older PC click adventure games, Myst and Riven and the Journeyman Project, just all those type of games back in the day that I used to play them on the Mac and PC way back when, and I started to see them go that way, and I'm like, well, with mobile taking off, they can really make a lot of money, making those games for mobile, and then they can make console games as well. And then go from there. And I'm like, they're making games for the Wii, and you could just literally point and click. I'm like, okay, it makes sense for them to be successful. But I figured it would have been able to keep going because it's scratching an itch that at one point in time it disappeared. That's kind of how I feel about the beat 'em up and side scrolling anything at this point.
I just think they needed one or two like original properties, and they can still use that setup. But they needed something that people didn't see coming. I mean, Batman. You know what you're gonna get from Batman for the most part.
They need to come up with their own mystery theater, their own murder mystery or whatever, or action type. Yeah,
that's what I think they were missing. They were too focused on, and they would get all the money in that case where they don't get all the money when it comes to those games.
True,
they have to pay licensing fees.
It was just a bunch of mismanagement, and
I think it was mismanagement mostly.
They had ballooned to 300 people at one point.
That's just insane. That's too much.
Define blown.
Huh?
Oh God!
God! See, I'm thinking actually about the subject, and here we go. and looking at our comments back here, going back and forth in our little chat here. Yeah, that makes sense. I just saw the last.
It's funny. As Cray said that, I'm watching Lara Croft on screen.
Oh God!
Oh man!
What is Lara Croft doing?
The new Lara Croft don't got no balloons.
They're good size.
They're good size.
But she hasn't developed into that adventurer yet.
They didn't turn her into Samus.
This is pre-plastic surgery.
They didn't turn her into Samus and Smash Ultimate though.
Oh my God!
She's like work in progress.
They're gone.
She wasn't a millionaire yet, so she can go and buy.
She had her money. She just wasn't spending it yet.
Yeah.
She was a dollar bin hoe. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. The Cardi B injections.
Yeah, she didn't get the injection.
Y'all here playing games, y'all. Hey, who knew gamers talked about rap? All right,
it is what it is.
Yeah, man. Listen, we just talk about game companies mismanaging their money and been too much goddamn. It's just a shame.
I mean, they started off at like 20 something people, and they somehow, I guess, somebody threw money at them, and then they got money back, and then they hired almost 250 people, like out of nowhere. Like I don't understand where they thought they were going to make more money by doing that.
Yeah, because wasn't it like one of their first projects? When was it? Wolf Among Us, right?
It was Sam and Max at first when they had started back doing those.
That's true.
And then they obviously made money because they probably made those games for $10,000.
Yeah,
so, you're talking about WiiWare, and there's not a lot of money you have to do to make a game. But and they probably made hand over fist with that, and then went from there. But that's just really frustrating situation because a lot of people could have benefited from that.
Yeah, it's
again, if you're not appealing to me, and that's my joint, like I'm playing a quote unquote click point and click right now, State of Mind on my Switch, and I'm loving it because it has its own unique, not just unique all the way through. It's that whole futuristic kind of cyberpunk thing going, but
Does it support
still its own
touchscreen?
thing. What's that?
Does it support the touchscreen?
Actually, I don't even know.
See, I want to try. I want to try one of those with the touchscreen and just fuck around with it.
There is one coming that supports touchscreen. I can't remember the name of it, but I don't know if State of Mind does or not.
It would be kind of cool to actually hold the Switch without Joy-Cons attached to it and then just fuck around, and I would do that.
To be fair, there's a game coming out where you can do that.
Yeah, there's something coming out. I can't remember what it is.
It's The World Ends With You.
The World Ends With You.
That comes out early mid October, I believe.
Isn't there a game that has like that comes with some kind of comic book or something where you can flip the pages using?
Yeah,
the
there's there's
that app, isn't it?
There's stuff like that. What do you call those? Visual novels and stuff? Those?
No,
Yeah.
it's in addition to a game. It's like a bonus that comes with a game. I remember seeing a reveal for it. Maybe it's Diablo? I don't
think it's Diablo.
Something like that. A reveal. It also comes with some kind of art, like book.
That might have been Ninja Gaiden on the DS.
Isn't that the one with the bomb where you have to keep talking? Is that the one you're talking about?
It was just a side. It was just a little bonus on top of a
when they're like,
game.
don't stop talking or you explode or something.
Something like that,
yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't know they came with a comic book though.
What I was thinking of is like a major game, and it's like part of the bonus that you get. It was in like the Nintendo Direct.
I don't remember.
None at the time.
Not this one. It wasn't this. It was in a previous video. It might be an indie game. I swear it was some kind of bonus that came with.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I just can't think of the game.
Yeah, I know it's real. I just don't know remember what it was. So
Nintendo must have been really serious because you got to imagine at some point that people were calling them saying, "Look, we can port all our Android games to your device," and Nintendo's like, "Fuck you, get in line." I would imagine. I don't want to say that a lot.
I don't want that to be a thing anyway because there's a lot of trash.
And then we have Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition on our console right now.
There's enough trash in the eShop as it is.
Yeah, that came out like a day after.
I'm not saying they should have. I can just say I can imagine that they had to fend that off at some point.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, you got shit like that witch game where you're riding the broom and that bullshit. Like, get this shit out there.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Broom or some shit, whatever that shit's called.
That's early Switch era. We don't talk about that. That shit was like a bootleg fucking like Toho game.
Oh, but there's a lot more trash on there.
It is.
Lately too.
Wanna go play checkers?
Oh my god.
For $10.99. Like, bitch,
get
what?
This shit off my Switch.
Hey, you better make
Monopoly
the Switch
looks okay though. I don't.
Which is weird because they just announced another fucking Monopoly game.
Like
another one? Why?
I was playing Monopoly yesterday.
Why make two?
Yeah, that was yesterday, wasn't it? Or today?
Yesterday, because I have a surgery, so I can't really play like really hardcore games. So I just threw on Monopoly and I was playing last night. Actually, I was able to find some people. Yeah.
No, this is something.
That one's okay. That one's fun.
Yeah.
This is Hasbro.
Oh man.
Well, this one's Ubisoft and Hasbro.
Oh, it is Ubisoft.
Oh, okay. So that's the same one. Okay.
Is there a new themed one coming?
It's a bundle.
Oh, okay.
It's Risk, Monopoly, and Trivial Pursuit.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's the game bundle. I think I saw that on the Nintendo Direct at some point.
People ain't gonna pull out those games out of their closet and on board, so might as well.
Everybody's lazy.
Throw it on TV.
Stacks of DVDs and DVD cases. Like you're looking at your little shelf of DVDs. You know you ain't gonna never touch them.
It's like it's crazy. It's funny you brought that up because I was sitting here like I got all these Blu-rays and whatnot. I'm like, well, I'll just go ahead and watch it on Netflix.
Yeah.
Let me find this on Netflix when I have all the Blu-rays sitting right there. It's like, that's lazy.
Hold on. So for the ones that aren't on Netflix, I actually ripped them so I can have them on a hard drive and stream them. And I don't even want to.
What is the point? That
is ultra lazy.
I don't do that, but sometimes I'll watch like a movie that's on FX or something, and I have the Blu-ray, but I'm sitting there watching
commercials and shit.
Wait about that fucking life.
That is super lazy. It's like
That is a shame.
That's the digital age, man.
Or just be extremely lazy and pause live TV.
Sometimes
just so you can wait and fast forward through it.
Wait for the commercial to go.
Wow.
I'm laughing because I do that shit. That's hilarious.
Wow.
People do it, man. They pause
That's
TV, go to the bathroom or something, just like a fast forward.
I'm not about to watch this shit. Let me go get something to drink or something. Go to the bathroom.
That's where you take advantage
That's
and get
funny.
on Twitter real quick and you start.
Yeah.
Going on Twitter.
I'll wait 15 minutes into the show. I'll pause it. It's just all right. Now I can start watching it.
That's hilarious. You know the same amount of time passed, right? Like, why are you doing?
It's crazy. It's crazy. Because we're programmed now, man.
What the fuck?
But people do this. People do this shit
all the time, like it's normal.
Hey man, it is normal now.
Well, now it is, but
you don't forgot what year you in.
you tell your 10-year-old self that you're gonna be doing this shit. Be like, what is wrong with you?
Man, like, what is wrong with you? I'm just happy that the rabbit ears give me a solid signal.
I used to like watching commercials because they were like fun to watch. Some of them.
Now they're just fucking trash.
They're pretty
Used to
trash.
brainwash you as a child. You're like, I really, really want some fruit by the
I want
foot.
some.
I really
Listen, I want some Hershey Kisses. That's what I
It's
want.
like I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid.
I know, man.
Now that shit's gone, son.
Yeah, everybody's sad.
Yeah.
The giraffe is dead.
Toys R Us and Blockbuster. Bye.
Hey man, listen. Technically, Blockbuster is owned.
All right,
by,
there's one Blockbuster. That shit don't count.
Well, I think it's like doesn't Dish Network own them now? I believe.
But I think that Blockbuster still
Dish
has some
still
rights
around?
though.
It has like a website, but I think it's owned by another company.
Yeah, I don't know if Dish Network still.
I was gonna say people still subscribe to Dish.
You'd be fucking surprised.
My compadres are. That's a big. It's a big Latino thing over here in California.
Oh, for real? Well, maybe in
Did
certain areas you can't get shit, so you have to.
Did y'all see the Blockbuster T-shirt from that store though?
Nah.
They're super savage. They're like Blockbuster and chill. They have a T-shirt that says Blockbuster and chill. I'm like, why are you doing this? Why?
Wow.
Just to be out there, just to do
Also,
it.
I am right. They do. Blockbuster is their streaming service.
Wow. If they don't have thought about that about 10 years ago, they might be all right.
Man, maybe 15.
Oh, excuse me. No, I forgot what we at. That's when you know you're old. 10 years ago. That's not old enough, bro.
Well, that's like fucking 2008.
Yeah, like 15 years ago.
It took them 5 years to catch on with Netflix to mail you DVDs.
They were never gonna. They were never gonna. They were.
Oh my
Come on, man! It was a work in progress.
They're like, you better bring your ass in the store if you want a DVD. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
We're trying to do better, Shadow.
Their thing was to try to consume you if you were doing something, and they didn't.
Wasn't that what the point of consumerism is?
Well, not for a business. That's not smart. It's just eat up everything, because then you got to deal with all their equity. Fuck.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
Welcome to business class on just.
There you go. There you go.
You gonna learn.
Toys R Us did that before they went under too for like the third time.
That's what happened to GameStop. They sitting around buying all these damn stores up, just to get rid of them. And now, oh wait a minute, we got to pay the bills for this store.
Yes, you do.
And you're fucked.
And they're collecting taxes. And
Right.
taxes are going up.
Exactly.
Is GameFly still around?
Yes.
Yeah.
GameFly is, yeah.
But Redbox is kicking that ass.
Redbox is digging in on that.
Because they want that $1 and was it $3 for a game or something like that? I forget.
Yeah.
But they kicking everybody ass for a hot minute.
I don't hear too much about Redbox anymore for some reason.
I go to every time I go to
took away
Redbox.
the DVD business from Netflix.
I go to Redbox every time. It's like, damn, is this a food stamp line? It's been long.
$1, man.
This shit long every time I go there. Like, god damn.
Just don't be another stereotype team. That's all I have, man. You better not. You know how to read books.
It's usually around the first of the month. That's where everybody goes.
Why? Why my heart?
Yeah,
But
My
Redbox
cholesterol built heart. Oh god!
But you immediately knew what I was talking about when I said food stamp line. You know that big
But Redbox
you can relate.
proved
That's all it
immediately.
is.
They proved immediately that
Yes.
if Blockbuster wasn't so damn greedy, they would have been able to survive all this. If they cut those prices and quit worrying about profits, then they could have been able to survive.
Yeah.
I mean,
But people weren't trying to worry about being competitive. They were just wanted. They just
all
wanted
about
money.
let's get bigger. We gotta make more every quarter and shit. And instead of just doing well, that's not good enough. You gotta make more. You push your what do you call your employees and shit to sell all these different things and stuff at the desk. Like,
Hey man, it sounds like
you can't keep growing. Okay, at some point you got to be like, all right, we good.
Oh man,
now.
that sounds like GameStop to me. What's the problem?
Well, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Got the late fees, man. Like $10 late fees.
They were renting music at one point. Physical discs.
That's
Physical CDs.
Don't you know I'm gonna go home and rip this shit? Why are you renting this? Why are you renting me this? Like,
Well, some people rent that shit. And you know how you can tell? You know how you can tell there was a problem when people were random and they wouldn't even have a fucking CD player at home. I'm like,
they brought that shit back in a couple hours.
Yeah, like what the fuck? Like, what are you doing with it? It's like, oh, you know exactly what I did with it.
Can I get a discount because I didn't keep it all day?
That is a shame. Everyone has
that's why we can't have nice things. What happened to Sam Goody? Bye.
Yep.
Oh,
all of those. They out.
Oh my heart.
Software, etc. All these stores are gone.
GameStop killed them all, man. Yep. It was Software, etc. Electronics Boutique. I guess.
Love Software, etc.
It was another one too. Funko Land. They bought all of them.
KB Toys.
I had never heard of the Funko Land.
Funko Land was good because if you went to the bigger ones in major cities, they brought in imports, so you could import a console there.
Cool. I talked about this in my Sega Saturn video a few years ago when I made that thing about Blockbuster Games.
Yes,
people don't remember Blockbuster Games, but Blockbuster
had a game section inside the store.
They had a games only store separate from Blockbuster. Yeah, the one I used to go to was in Tampa Bay Center. Shout out Tampa, Florida. And it was called Blockbuster Games. I actually put a picture of it in that video, and that's all it was. It was just video games, and they had an import section. That's where I used to get all my import games from at Blockbuster Games back in the day.
That's like when GameStop bought Movie Stop.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
that was a thing.
What was that store? There was a movie store in the damn. That's where I bought episode 1.
What, Hollywood
VHS
video?
from there. No, it was on VHS. They sold it wasn't rental. They sold movies.
You got episode 1 on VHS.
Yeah, shame on me. Hot mess.
It looked bad on DVD.
Yeah, it looked horrible on VHS. So you can imagine. Yeah, I remember it was like $28 or something too. It was ridiculous.
Ooh, that sound like Turtles prices. Turtles
I can't remember the name of it, but it was pretty popular for like 2 years, and that shit died.
Oh, people are talking about Suncoast and Radio Shack in the chat.
Oh yeah.
Suncoast.
Suncoast was great.
Yeah, Suncoast
was great for me because that was like the only other place I could find a fucking anime DVD, and it wasn't imported from fucking Japan.
Yeah.
And that was Camelot music for me.
Damn, was that Suncoast?
That was Suncoast.
I'm thinking about.
Suncoast used to have that.
Yeah,
shit.
Suncoast did have anime.
Yeah,
it was like the only place you could buy it physically. It drove me nuts.
Oh, I completely forgot the name. Yeah, Suncoast. That's what it was.
Radio Shack is still around.
Somehow, Radio Shack is still around.
You can buy a resistor in Radio Shack. It can be done.
I'm still confused by that. How the fuck did they make it through the passage of time of all companies?
They downsized.
They downsized a lot.
Big time, yeah.
Well, obviously they should have been downsizing years ago. Fucking,
they were. Man, those
room?
prices were ridiculous in there.
That's not the place to buy anything from.
You don't go to Radio Shack and buy electronics unless you want to spend 3 times as much on that shit.
I almost, a funny story. The last time I was in Radio Shack before they're all gone in my town, I was gonna buy the components to make my own sensor bar because it needed to be about 30 feet away from the Wii. Yeah. And they had I watched a video like just some what was the infrared lights and the little simple circuitry. Then I was like, it's like $20. I'm gonna wait. And then I got home, watched a video of a guy just took a AC adapter, cut the end off, showed you how to separate the two end like with something in between, and you just stick it in the actual end of the.
Voila!
And, you could literally just strip that shit off and put a USB header on the end of it and just plug it in a USB port. Like it works just fine. It's just a light.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking ridiculous.
People thought that it transferred data and shit. I remember in the beginning. But anyway, that was the last time.
some super technology in that thing. No, not really.
This is Nintendo we're talking about. It's a light and a camera in the Wii remote. It's not. It's not.
Like, I want to know how they must have made mad money off that Wii, man.
Yeah.
That thing was
because they figured out
cheap.
They figured out how to make revolutionary stuff with like already dated technology.
Two GameCubes stuck together.
Yep. I don't know how they did it.
The biggest hustle
the
in
Game
gaming.
Boy.
Yeah, the Game Boy. Like they must have made a killing off of that thing.
Oh, those like calculator CPU. Jesus. Oh my God. Like
they sold that thing for 11 goddamn years.
but to be fair, Texas Instruments did too. They still do. They still sell the TI-83. Like that thing is making millions of dollars.
Well, because it's simple. You don't want something that's over. Oh, I can just do it on my phone. No, you don't want to do that shit on your phone. You want a dedicated device for that stuff.
It's still crazy to me that.
Do we need to go into that conversation?
Oh no! Oh no!
I don't know what you're talking about. So
fight.
Better not.
Wow. Fucking savage. The hell.
Oh shit.
We've
dedicated devices for things. Those are
awesome. Anyway, I think we've
You want an Apple Watch?
No, all right. No, we're done. We're done here tonight.
You shutting this down on
Yeah,
the
fuck all that. I heard some Apple shit. Yeah. All Apple I want to hear about is the fruit. Fuck that other shit.
It tells time.
All right, now. So does a watch.
Check your pulse.
You could jog and
I'm so done with you people.
Keeps up with your cholesterol levels.
All right, listen. We gotta close it down.
It won't connect you to the Google store, so that's
it's getting to Juice's nap time. We don't have time for this. He's gonna have to go to sleep soon, and we can't interrupt his early naps. All right?
I don't take naps.
Juice, shut the fuck up! I'm trying to get.
I don't take naps. Never have.
You above a nap? Fuck you.
Juice, you couldn't take this one L just for the night.
I've never taken naps. I don't understand.
Naps are good for you, son.
Actually, what I was like, what the hell is
Not
this?
when you get 8 hours of sleep every night. You don't need
That
naps.
don't matter. Yeah,
he's seriously trying to keep you from interrupting, right? He's doing that on purpose. Like he's not going to let you have that. You're not going to.
Which is weird because I don't understand the aggression against naps. I enjoy the hell out of some naps.
I take drunk naps.
Can we shut this thing down? I got to get back to record that great game made by the makers of Metroid Prime.
Don't you want to watch the Bucks getting beat by Pittsburgh?
No, I don't.
Anywho, I'm gonna go first with my final thoughts just to get it out of the way. Last thing about Bowser, apparently Nintendo stock rose yesterday more than it did during
just their stock rose.
Wow, we're done. Thank you, Stormy Daniels.
You're a fucking comedian, aren't you? Anywho,
mushrooms.
The fucking stock rose based off a goddamn picture because Japan doesn't give a fuck apparently. GG, I see some tits. That's all I needed to see. Anywho, podcast was fucking weird, man. We went off rails a lot. But hell, it led to good conversation, so I'm happy with it.
Makes it fun.
I want to thank Little Cray for being here. You've been
muchas gracias por tenerme aquí. Muchas gracias, igualmente.
Cuckoo could choose to you
No habla español.
No, hey, you know what? Juice is learning quite a bit of Spanish there.
Yeah.
Juice?
I learned it and then I forget it immediately.
No, but I want to thank you guys or thank you, Juice, for inviting me to the podcast. I've been listening for a long time. Listen to you guys weekly, and it's awesome to be part of it this time. I appreciate it.
Good. And just final things. Valkyria Chronicles 4 comes out tomorrow. Dragon Ball FighterZ for the Switch comes out Friday. And Mario Party comes out, I think, the week after that.
Is Dragon Ball locked behind a paywall?
Eat a dick!
Oh.
I just man. Someone go get this man. Go get his cane. Go get this man his cane, all right? So I can beat him with it.
I'm going to play it on PC where it's free everywhere.
Hey, listen. Oh yeah, I guess I'll mention it
behind
now.
That
I'll probably
of an Apple Watch.
Son of a bitch. Listen, those who want to play online, I will probably be using my Nintendo Online free trial this weekend since FighterZ is out. So if you want to play with me online, this is the time. Also, I guess we'll save it for next time. But I think Shadow Fox has the online, and I think Clocktick and Retro both have the online. So we can do more first impressions on that from people who've actually used it. But yeah, Juice. Final thoughts, you piece of shit.
Final thoughts are good job hosting, and this was fun getting off the rails because we didn't really have like
we had no
Nintendo topics. So I mean, Bowsette. I mean, come on. But it was actually really fun.
It was 20 minutes long. That was
next week, Robert's actually going to be back. He's going to be on the podcast, and I have a special game planned. So everybody tune in for that. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be maybe a reoccurring type of thing. But yeah, just been playing some Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I just checked. I got 9 hours in the game, so more than I thought. But I started like an actual home improvement project a couple weekends ago, so I haven't been gaming a whole lot. Haven't turned my Switch on since before the last week podcast. I know my power went out, and I seen my Switch light up because of that's what happens when the power goes out. I don't know if it counted as turned on, so I'd be curious if somebody looked at my Switch on look at that on your Switch and see what it says the last time I turned it on. But yeah, with that online paywall, it's I really because Rocket League was my main thing right now, and it's hard to find reasons to turn the damn Switch on. So, but apparently on Wednesday, Rocket League's adding the cross-platform lobby system, which there was an update today, and I thought I checked just to see if they added that early. On PC, and all they did the season ended, so you get your season rewards. But thankfully, thanks to Psyonix for doing that, because it's like perfect timing. So me and Craig can still play because he's getting the online service. And so other than that, I just want to talk to all the Boston area people that listen to this podcast in the New England area. More specifically, so I'm just gonna
Foxborough area.
I'm just gonna
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
And I just want to say, last night's Lions Patriots game was one of the highlights of my life. So
I think that's the highlights of everybody's life.
He got their ass whooped.
It's as close as as to a Super Bowl I think I'll get in my lifetime. So just listen to that crowd.
Just awesome, watching Tom Brady just ball up. That was I was enjoying every second of that.
Oh, to the football podcast.
It was beautiful. But I did not celebrate until the clock read 0-0-0 because you never know. But man,
I don't think they were going to be the Falcons. It's okay.
That was beautiful. So yeah, that's all I got to say.
All right, Shadow Fox. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Rise up. Yeah. So this is interesting. I'm glad y'all bear it with me because I'm not with my original equipment right now. So there are podcast woes and Google will be Google. However, this was an interesting discussion and one that I'm glad I was able to get into here. There was a couple things I wanted to talk about like this previously before. I do plan on doing probably my own podcast pretty soon, and I would like for you guys to be on. I guess we'll talk that one offline and see what we could do it or whatever. I had a couple things I do want to talk about, and they're not necessarily Switch Online related because I know how that'll end up going. But it will be about some other features coming to Nintendo Switch, and I do want to. I would like to see you guys' opinions on that. And
I'd actually like to talk about, with the service, with you not being able to change it completely, but just adds a few things. What needs to be added until it's like, man, this is for $20. This is, this is really good. How far away are they? I know T feels there's a few things.
I feel like they're
not that
really
far away.
close.
So I think that'd be a positive way to talk about the Switch Online. Maybe we'll do that next week.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, y'all know what my opinion was anyway. So I'm kind of unless I'm chatting with you guys, I really don't. I already have what I need. Anyway,
I see a lot of
so.
Shadow Fox defending, countering
Yeah.
people thoughts on it on Twitter.
So what I wanted to do was just a video for those people, because it's not even. So I saw some of your impressions, and I tweeted like 2 videos, I think. And those are fine, well and good, but you're not lying. Like, people are making up shit to diss
You
the
don't
service.
have to make up stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm
people are
saying.
making up stuff like
there's
with the
enough there to.
Like the service itself. I mean,
Yeah.
all you have to do is say what it is, and it's like you don't have to add stuff. It's
Those people are just
Like-
fucking haters.
Like just this week,
that's
just this week, somebody put out a list and said, "Hey, these are all the games that won't support cloud." And I'm looking and I'm like, "Okay, I have 4 of those games on that list right now, and I've already saved the cloud. What the fuck are they talking about?" This is the type of stuff that I see every day, and it's just ridiculous. So I would say, people, just check your sources. Check your sources. Like and it's not the fact of me just defending it. If that goes out there and that's accepted as fact, what else is going out there being accepted as fact?
Well, I'm annoyed because I get lumped in with those motherfuckers.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying you do, but
T, why are you mad at me just because I'm okay with the service? I don't get that. Why are you
I
mad?
never said that shit.
no, I looked on there and I looked under, and right under active gamer life, I also see I'm blocked by Mr. T and terminated. Like, everybody is gonna block Shadow Fox. Like, why did he buy this shit blocked? But
Oh my goodness.
it was a good podcast, guys. I appreciate y'all having me on once again.
All right, and to end it off, T.
Mizza
Go ahead.
Tizza up in this bizza. Hey, great podcast, fellas. Thanks for joining us here. Lake, I almost called you Lake. Look at me. Lil Craig. I was just looking at his name. That's what. In the chat, my bad. Yeah, thanks for joining us, man. Great to have you on.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Man, T's been drinking.
Yeah, you must have.
I ain't drinking yet. I gotta watch this football game. That might start. Yeah, great podcast. It was fun talking about just kind of random stuff. That's fun as well. So yeah, I know I ain't dropped a video in a minute. It's mainly because I've been demotivated from all this Switch Online stuff and people crying on my Twitter about, me buying games. Oh, you're buying all these games. I will see you playing them. Oh, I didn't know you was on. I didn't know you was on the friend list.
He's just been under that dark save data cloud.
Yeah, I've been under the dark save data cloud, raining on my head. So it's demotivated me. But I'm start pumping out stuff. I'm gonna actually I gotta put some stuff out because I'm gonna be leaving this weekend to Florida. Finally see my family after all these weeks, and figure out where we're gonna live and get that taken care of. But so I'll put some stuff out and play Nintendo.
Online.
Fucking depressing.
Play Nintendo for
all right, listen, we're done here. Thank you all for watching. We appreciate your time and your appreciation. I would do the like and subscribe, but just don't give a fuck about any of that. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Later.
Wave your hand.